And we begin tonight taking a closer look at a video that's gone viral on social media showing a Waymo autonomous car driving the wrong way on Rural Road in Tempe. Good evening and thanks so much for joining us for 12 News at 10. I'm Kariba Devine.
I'm Mark Curtis. This all comes as we see more and more of those self-driving cars making their way across the valley. 12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra spent the evening looking into the viral video, and she's live in Tempe tonight with what she learned.
Well, Mark Kriebe, I spoke with an ASU expert who says Waymo data shows that their cars are actually safer than human drivers. But after an incident like this, it shows the technology isn't perfect yet. Pulling up next to an autonomous car is becoming a normal occurrence for drivers in the greater Phoenix area. But moments like this can't help but catch people by surprise. A video now shared thousands of times across several social media platforms shows a Waymo autonomous car trying to turn left onto Rural Road just north of the 60, but it's blocked by cars waiting for the light. The driverless car then appears to think for a moment before turning into oncoming traffic.
When the car is faced with something that it hasn't experienced before, yes, it can be hesitant, it can be confused, very much like a human driver that's plunged into a completely unknown situation.
Situations Andrew Maynard says the cars will ultimately learn from.
Every time one of their cars finds something that it can't deal with or a new situation, they learn from that.
Maynard, an Arizona State University professor of advanced technology transitions, tells me autonomous car failures are fewer and farther between the successes.
Certainly the evidence is that they seem to be safer than human drivers.
According to 2023 data, Waymo says its autonomous cars have an 85% reduction in injury-causing crashes compared to human drivers.
Most of the time they're incredibly safe, and even when things do happen that we don't want to happen, and most of those actually include Waymos being rear-ended, so it's not the Waymo's fault.
The owner of autonomous cars can be issued a traffic citation if the car fails to follow traffic laws, according to the Arizona Department of Transportation. Maynard says Waymo is also regulated on a larger scale.
This is a technology which is still being developed. It's not perfect, but hopefully it's as safe as it can be, and for everything that goes wrong, we're one step closer to having an even safer technology.
And we reached out to Waymo several times today for comment on this story, but did not get a response. Live in Tempe, Gabriela Becerra, 12 News.
Gabby, thanks. An Arizona lawmaker has been barred from using a TV studio at the state capitol after doing a remote interview with a rabid anti-Semite. Republican Senator Anthony Kern of Glendale made an appearance on the Stu Peters show last week from a broadcast studio in the state Senate building. Officials with the Anti-Defamation League say the show has previously spread anti-Semitic messaging, including denying the Holocaust, and Kern's episode veered into a conversation on Christian nationalism. In a statement responding to the appearance, a spokesperson for the Senate President Warren Peterson said the quote, "The Senate President does not approve of how the senator chose to use legislative broadcast resources last week, and as a result, his privileges to use those resources for future interviews have been revoked." Kern, who is running for Congress, is awaiting trial on felony charges of fraud, having served as one of Arizona's fake electors.
We are tracking 3 wildfires that are burning in different parts of the state right now. We begin with the Flying Bucket Fire, which is burning 19 miles southwest of the town of Maricopa right now. Crews with several fire agencies are working to battle those flames, with the Department of Forestry and Fire Management saying that it's burned about 1,000 acres of land so far. Right now, officials say that there are no threats to any roads or structures. We're also tracking the Horse Fire, which is burning off of Horseshoe Lake Road near Horseshoe Reservoir. Officials with the Tonto National Forest say that crews made some good progress battling the flames today. So far, it's burned just over 500 acres and is now 5% contained.
And this comes just a day after the Sugar Fire burned 240 acres near Sugarloaf Mountain. That fire is now 70% contained and its progress has been stopped. The fire is across the highway from the Four Peaks Recreation Area. Officials say 2 engines are still patrolling the area to make sure it doesn't spread. The cause of both fires remains under investigation. And 12 News is dedicated to keeping you informed throughout the wildfire season. For more details on any fires that are burning across the state, scan the QR code on your screen. That'll take you to a page with the latest information. You can also head over to 12news.com/wildfires. And let's bring in meteorologist Lindsay Riley for a first look at your forecast. And Lindsay, we're going to be dealing with some really high winds that are causing red flag warnings in parts of the state.
We sure are. So those wind speeds are going to crank up again tomorrow. So tomorrow definitely windier than what we had out there today. A red flag warning goes into effect for northern and eastern Arizona beginning at 1 p.m. tomorrow through 8 p.m. And we will see some wind gusts ranging anywhere from about 40 to 50 miles per hour. Those winds will be blowing from the west, and those relative humidities will be at about 8%. As we look to the hour-by-hour forecast, tomorrow at 1 p.m., that's when the wind speeds will start approaching 40 miles per hour. We'll stay in that general vicinity through the afternoon. Here in the valley, we're looking at 25-mile-per-hour gusts. After sunset tomorrow, wind speeds will start to die down, and it won't be quite as windy as we head into the day on Wednesday. Relative humidity is still very low. They're typically lower during the day than at nighttime, but still, they will lower to about 8% during the heat of the day tomorrow, and temperatures are expected to begin to build. We'll look more into that coming up in your full forecast. Caribe.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Tonight, a somber event outside the state capitol, the annual Peace Officers Memorial Service, where families and survivors came together to pay tribute to Arizona's fallen heroes. And earlier today, 12 News journalist Bianca Bono sat down exclusively with one of those family members. She joins us live at Wesley Bolin Plaza with their story. Bianca?
Yeah, Caribe, we had the opportunity to sit down with Phoenix Police Assistant Chief Charmaine Osborne. She is the highest ranking woman in the department, and the reason she was called to law enforcement is deeply personal, and it's something she remembered tonight.
These are more than just names etched in a wall.
Phoenix Police Assistant Chief Charmaine Osborne delivering a moving speech Monday night.
They are the heroes who are etched into the very fabric of our collective being.
This is the state's Peace Officers Memorial Service, a night dedicated to Arizona's fallen heroes.
This was my dad when he was on the motorcycle.
Heroes like her father.
That was the motor that he was on when he was killed in line of duty.
Policing is in Osborne's DNA. After her grandfather worked in law enforcement, her father became an officer in Michigan, moving to Phoenix when she was 10.
My mother worked for the department for a little while also.
Then came May 4th, 1984, a day Osborne remembers like it was yesterday.
I was a freshman in high school, and I was at the last school dance for the year. And I was at the dance when officers showed up.
At 15, paged by the DJ at her high school dance.
My mother wasn't home, and my little brother was there, and they were trying to get a neighbor to come over and sit with us, basically, to try to figure out what was going on. And no one wanted to tell me anything.
She would eventually learn her father, Phoenix police officer Robert Palmentier, was struck by an impaired driver.
Right before his funeral, my mother had wanted to get pictures taken of him in uniform, and so the photographer had just taken these and they weren't even developed yet, so they actually rushed the development of them so we would have them for the funeral procession.
After losing her father, Osborne's dreams of becoming an officer were put on hold.
I thought, maybe I shouldn't do this for a while.
But out of tragedy came a calling Osborne couldn't ignore.
At 28, I took a leap of faith, tried out for the department, and graduated the academy at age 29.
26 years later, she's worked as an officer in Maryvale, a sergeant, then commander at the Desert Horizon Precinct, worked in internal affairs and community engagement, and graduated from the FBI National Academy. And in December of 2022, she was promoted to assistant chief, making her the highest-ranking sworn female employee in the department.
It was a leap of faith because I wasn't really certain that it was what I think I should do, but still wanted to serve the community that I had grown up in, and I'm so thankful that I did.
And on Monday night, just 2 days after the 40th anniversary of her father's death, she remembered his sacrifice.
This is why I'm truly proud to serve as an assistant chief in the same city for the same police department that my father gave everything to.
While her father's life was cut short, she's devoted hers to continuing his legacy.
I hope that my dad is proud of me and everything that I've accomplished since being here. Hopefully, I'm honoring my father with living on the legacy that he started for me.
And And no doubt her dad must be very proud. And when I asked the assistant chief what's next for her, she laughed as she said retirement. But long before that, she is in charge of recruitment and hiring. She notes the department right now is down about 560 officers. So she's hoping that others with her same calling will follow in her footsteps. We're live at the Capitol tonight. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
Bianca, thanks. New tonight, the city of Scottsdale has approved new ordinances surrounding short-term rentals with the goal of trying to reduce disturbances that are caused by noisy gatherings like parties. The city council unanimously voted in favor of the changes. They include prohibiting minors from reserving short-term rentals and making it illegal for non-residents to stay on the property if police are trying to break up a party. There's also an ordinance that would hold so-called party promoters responsible for arranging some of those loud parties. This all comes as city officials report that nuisance party calls went up 73% over the past year, with almost half of those calls being made to short-term rentals.